evening, how are you? And good evening, our viewers. Yeah.
Indeed. And getting straight into it, on 1st April 2025, when you eventually had operations begin therein, you inherited about 1.7 to 1.8 million customers accessing electricity in Uganda. And on the 31st of March 2025, it's when you officially took over from Umeme. It's now 1 year down the road and a few days, obviously. But what has the journey been like? Walk us through the journey of the 1 year and what the success stories are like and what you've registered.
Thank you, Jerry, and our viewers. We took over power distribution across the country. The major one had taken on the 1st of April. But by that time, we had taken over five private operators. On the 1st of April, that's when we took over the 6th, and on 1st of July, we took over the 7th private operator. So the journey has been fairly good, and there is a lot of success, issues to Citizens' land, and also some few challenges here and there, but it's the reason why we're here. Indeed. So the major issue that we embarked on is to make sure that we stabilize the business and we enhance, create governance into place, people settles in, controls procedures start working, then the system stabilizes based on the magnitude as we had expanded. That is a fundamental movement that you've moved. Then the rest are operational issues, which we shall discuss as we move on. Yeah.
Very well, thank you. Now, looking at the record that you had in the first 10 months, you were able to record 1.71 trillion in revenue as an entity. And by February 2026, you had recorded a whole 101% achievement in revenue collection. Take us through what the strategies were that you used to achieve this success.
Yeah, the first strategy, as I've mentioned, is to deploy the governance structure, control procedures and systems, revenue management, cash collection. What we've embarked on and our strength is mainly to confirm that whichever is sold has to be collected. And also our billing system, the way we've structured it, the business structure that we've formulated, we called it 3-15-100. 3 regions, 15 territories, 100 offices. In that case, we created a commanding structure that can monitor and do billing from the highest customer to the rural customer deep in the village. At the same time, when it comes to cash collection, we've used technology. We've deployed technology to the maximum of it. 99% of our customers, they're on prepayment. The 1%, they're mainly three-phase customers and factories. They are on postpaid. But because of the deployment of people and the strictness on governance, if a bill is consumed, we engage the customer and they pay the bill type. That one we have achieved it.
Right.
The good thing we've also done is to make bill payment easy as much as possible. A customer doesn't need to walk all the way to go to the bank. They can pay at any time at their homes or through any media channel. So with that, we've been in position to enhance our revenue, sales, and growth. At the same time, cash collection. Because of that, we have reached an extent of creating financial sustainability in the energy sector. All the 7 private companies that we took over, none of them had a zero balance payment to Uedc'S. They had areas. Even up to now, they still have issues in the court they are solving. But because of our cash collection, enhanced revenue collection, we've seen ourselves paying 100% of the Uedc'S bill. That Uedc'S bill is very, very important for this country because it is the one that is used to pay all the generators. If I talk about generators, we have over 44 generators, small and big. The likes of Karuma Dam, Isimba, Nalubale, Kila, Bujagali, and all the private investors. They are paid from that bill. Why? Because distribution is the converter of electrons into cash. So we convert all the effort done in the generation plants, in the transmission plant, into cash. Then we pay it back to create financial sustainability.
Right.
So it means the arm for distribution is quite important for the sector and the country at large.
Wow.
So those are fundamental successes. And other more are coming as we discuss.
Indeed. As you've shared the different strategies you used, I'm reminded of the Wesotinge campaign. Could it also be a contributor to the revenue collection increase that you had?
Yes. What happened, as soon as we took over, we did a study with the network for the first 120 days. The objective of that study was to do a diagnosis of how is the network behaving and how shall we react. What are we expecting our customer to receive if we react in such and such an angle? So our findings were that on average 12% of the network was in their need. Their need for investment, repairs and maintenance, and critical maintenance. But at the same time, what we found out, that there are quite a number of customers in the field there with 40 meters who had applied for power 1 year plus ago. They were not connected. They decided to do self-connection. So in principle, they were on direct supply. So we formulated a campaign called Uedcl'S, and it was launched at the end of July. The objective of that campaign was, if you have any connection that is not in good phase, we shall give you a free meter. Initially, our expectation was that we shall get about 6,000 customers. Tell you what, self-registration went up to 36,000 customers. Those are the customers with meters or with account numbers, but they didn't have meters plus also. Now, having run that campaign, there were those customers who did not have anything, like a meter on account. They also enticed to register themselves as new applicants. So we've seen, since we took over, a spike also in the new applications. And since we took over, I think we had more than 460 new applications, but we've cleared about 60. The 400, they are in the pipeline for new connection. We have also connected, including the backlog, about 236,000 new applications. So different campaigns, different easement, different. We even sent our team in the field, 2 teams on the campaign and also for doing field operations.
Right.
What we call normalizing the bad connections here and there. So because of the field operations, customers also forced to come and register. Combination of that plus the controls in place, that's why we've seen our revenues increasing. And we believe we are on the right track as we speak.
Indeed. And that campaign, I must say, was one successful one, even in regards to PR management, because they are in Uedc'S got quite a lot of recognition and awards for that campaign.
Yes.
You are watching UBC TV this evening, and we're having a conversation with the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, looking at the 1 year of service since they took over. What has transpired? It's the conversation that we're having this evening. So be part of it. My name is Julie F. Nantaba. Doing the morning show every day, indeed, is one thing that is so stuck to my mind that now I'm calling this time a morning, but it's rather an evening, and it is in the 9 o'clock hour of the evening. Once again, I appreciate you for being part of the show. The other avenues for you to watch the show online is available. Follow the conversation at our X handle at UBC TV Uganda, but also on YouTube. That is UBC Television Uganda. Online, you are able to watch the show. And the hashtag to use online is hashtag UBC updates. Now, Mr. Mwasigwa, let's look at the unavoidable disease of load shedding and the rampant shedding that Ugandans are experiencing. Somebody on X has come through and indeed asked, Minister Nankabirwa has said the big switch would enhance service reliability.
Yeah.
A year later, Parliament, manufacturers and SMEs report losses from unplanned outages. As MD, will you take personal responsibility if Q2 2026 shows no measurable drop in an unplanned outage? So let's also look at generally the issue of load shedding. What concrete measures have you put in place as a company to deal with this issue?
Yeah, okay. Actually, currently, by the time we took over and the first 6 months, it was tough.
Right.
It was tough because as soon as we took over, we activated new connections in a big swing. And as soon as you activate new connections, we started seeing the network falling apart. Falling apart means transformer failing, conductors and the jumpers joints giving way, especially at peak hours, substations tripping left and right. For example, the customers in Najanankumbi, Barara, Namave, they were all tripping left and right because we had enhanced consumption. As we speak now, we've enhanced demand from 986 megawatt maximum demand to 1,217 megawatt. That's a jump of about 23%, excluding data centers. That jump has a ripple effect onto the network. So what does it mean? That the pressure on the network has increased. But as we speak, towards the end of the last 6 months within the year, we've started seeing stability for the few activities that we've done. We've done what we call network optimization. For example, we have upgraded 5 substations, optimizing, transferring a bigger substation where it is underutilized and putting it in the right position. If I can be specific, our customers on Entebbe Road at Najanankumbi and the surrounding of Kaboa, Deje, we worked on that project towards the end of November. Actually, towards Christmas, for them, they were just enjoying happy. We only remained with some few village transformers, which our teams are putting in now. The other area that has benefited into our optimization is the Kachiri side. Kachiri, Nasana, and the surrounding, Wakiso. At night, they used to have load shedding, but they no longer have load shedding. What we're experiencing, the phase we are in now, for those areas we've done optimization, are the spikes that come because of sometimes fluctuation into the entire network. But that is another level. The other territory that we worked on was Masaka substation, and I think their power has also stabilized. Kabale, it was Kisoro, and Kumi in Soroti. We upgraded on average ×2 of the substations. But we still, now we've moved from the load shedding environment. Right. We are still having issues of fluctuations. Fluctuations are caused by so many factors. Some of them are arising from the distribution network. Others arises from the transmission network. But as a sector working with transmission and generation, we are managing the value chain activities which are affecting transmission and distribution. For example, yesterday there was a national blackout arising from the transmission. So many events happened. So for us on the distribution, we are on the receiving end, we explain to our customer. Those are the unconnected fluctuations that are having, and the sector is managing. But on the side of distribution now, we've embarked on zonal investments. If I talk about zonal investments, we've started now deploying our capital expenditure. For example, we've injected by close of last week, we have injected 178 transformers in different villages across the country. And after that, those injections, we have started seeing some calmness at village level. The other task that we need now to do, and we are working closely with the transmission, is to stabilize the fluctuations in some industrial parks. But the power availability in industrial parks from the latest status of March 2026 is at 99.2. Now this 0.8 for a factory is a big percentage, because out of 720 hours a month, 0.8 is approximately equal to 6 hours of fluctuations in a month. So we are working out modalities. How do we stabilize to eliminate those 6 hours out of 720? Because we have also seen some feeders which are operating at 100% in the city here and in other areas. So we want to reach that level. At least we should start with the manufacturers at 100%. And if there is any fluctuation that will come out, it should be under planned maintenance, where we announce the switch off your equipment for 3 or 5 hours. We are going to do such and such maintenance, and that is the direction we are moving as a company and as a country. So it's our responsibility as the distributor to make sure that we normalize the system. At the moment, I think I've elaborated like that.
Indeed, indeed. From outages, load shedding, to now fluctuations, and of course now moving into the phase of at least maintenance, where there's 4 hours off just to maintain and then switch you back on. Looking at the 1 year since Uedcl took over from Umeme, what has transpired? That's the conversation we are having this evening. And if you are just joining the show, I'm having it with Paul Mwesigwa, who is the Managing Director of Uedcl. You can follow the conversation online at UBC TV Uganda, the hashtag UBC Updates. It is also on our YouTube at UBC Television Uganda, the YouTube channel. You can follow the conversation from on there. Now, looking at the $994 million investment plan, could you please just walk us through the key priorities that the entity has set as to how these investments will be allocated to definitely and effectively use the $994 million?
Actually, even if I go to the 994, as of today, we have committed up to 440 billion. That's about 110 million US dollars. What I call commitment, those are the contracts signed for supplies and labor. Among the items included in those commitments are mainly transformers, cables, conductors, accessories, meters, labor and transport for the contractors. The good news is 80% of those commitments, they are BUB.
Buy Uganda, build Uganda.
Buy Uganda, build Uganda. What does it mean? It means significantly when it comes to job creation in the country. We have made the industrial area of manufacturers busy. Busy. Because they need to supply those materials on time, but with quality. We are working closely with the Ugandan National Bureau of Standards to make sure that the quality we get is good. For example, we have not imported any conductor other than the high voltage because the factories here are unable to do them. But all the low voltage, those black ABC conductors, the high voltage conductors and bare conductor, they are manufactured from here. We have also given the market to the meter manufacturers, domestic meters. By the time we took over, there were 3 factories manufacturing meters. Now, when we took over, we said no importation of domestic meters since we have a market here. Tell you what, as of today, there are 7 factories that have established here. Somebody can tell me they don't produce good quality products. But tell you what, the factories that used to import, they have established subsidiaries here. So that means we are getting the same product.
Right.
That's very good. That other than our people, our population, boarding planes to go and look for casual works there, at least they can start from assembling from the factories in Uganda here.
Right, right.
Transformers. We have 7 factories for transformers, and they're all busy. Some factories have been given contracts for repair and maintenance. Others have been given contracts to supply new transformers. What does it mean? That is all the income that will remain in the country to create a vicious circle of growth. Now, the $994 million is in relation to our 5-year investment plan. In this plan, we have those investments for growth, natural growth, because every year we expect to add a minimum of 300,000 customers. That means in the next 5 years, we are going to have another 1.5 million customers. Currently, we have 2.7. So it means after 5 years, we shall have 4.2 million customers. And the more customers you add, the more investment that you need to put on the network. The good thing, this equation is self-financing. Because if you put more customers, they'll be paying the bills. And therefore, you'll be in position even to finance the asset. The question that would come around, do you have the money? We don't need to have the money in the pocket. There are many financiers who are looking for commercially viable businesses which are managed with good governance, like what we are doing, who are willing to give us the money. Notably, the concession financiers, even the World Bank. Today we are also discussing with other international lenders to work out programs for the future. So that is one area of investment in customer connections. But the natural growth also attracts investments into substations, building more and more strong feeders, also enhancing the backbones that as you connect more customers, you are increasing the megawatt, the loading. In that case, you need, if I can use an example, that if you've been using a small carrier to carry 2 grams, by the time you go to 5 tons, you need a huge carrier. That is part of the investment that shall be deployed. So in summary, that is.
Right.
Yes.
Very profound at that. I once again appreciate you for choosing UBC TV this evening. We are with Paul Mwesigwa, the Managing Director of the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, looking at the 1-year takeover from Umeme that is in leading and connecting Uganda's network electricity. What has the year looked like for the entity? That's the experience we are looking at. And so far, we started quite a while ago. But if you're just joining in, you can still catch up with what we are looking at this evening. Now, Uganda's National Access and Electrification Agenda focuses on achieving universal electricity by 2030. And this feeds in, of course, into the 2040 vision. How have you aligned your investment plans with this particular agenda?
So our investment plan have been aligned in such a way that we work closely with the electrification programs also. Because we are operating across the country, as the electrification program construct lines, we take them over and immediately activate connections. But at the same time, we also support our offline activities, offline electricity suppliers like Uedcl'S, Uganda Electricity Capitalization Company. We work them closer together because some connections are going to be universal access, are going to be off-grid and others on-grid. For us as distribution company, our main effort is on the grid. Right. As we move the grid, working with notification agency, we make sure that even the customers deep in the villages where the income levels are not sufficient to have a full connection of a big house, we shall deploy what we call ready boards for free. It is a complete set that we just bring, plug and play. Plug on your house, put in the socket, then you have the light. That logic will also enhance on the universal agenda. Plus also making sure that the service is available. You know, among the biggest challenge of a utility, that you have to make the service available as easy as much as possible, because it is you to ask the customer to connect, to come to you, not the customer. Time has moved. Those days, by the time we grew up actually, it is we who used to go and beg a utility.
Yes.
But now we should be the servant of the population to go and ask the utility to come to us. So what have we done? We've made service provision online, that you no longer need to come to our office to apply for power. If you have a nearby pole of 90 meters from your home, you just go on your phone, on our Uedc'S application, you submit your application, we shall get a message, come inspect you, you pay online, we come and deploy the gadgets for you. That is part of the effort that we should be, we are putting down to access, to have the universal agenda program. Plus also making sure that connections are fairly here. Currently, we are implementing a project funded under the World Bank called Energy Access Scale Project. A customer just needs to pay for inspection fee, 23,600 only. Then they also deposit 6,400 for their initial units. Remember, some time back, a new connection was at 720,000. Now imagine, by the way, 720 plus inspection. Now, in principle, this program that we are running has scrapped the 720. Who's paying for the customer? The government is paying for the customer through the program that we are running with the Minister of Energy, Minister of Finance, and the central government at large. So in that case, we are properly aligned with the universal access.
Right.
Yeah.
Therein, allow me hint on the issue of awareness. When we talked about load shedding and of course now even the investment plan, where you find that now people can access the Uedc'S app and you get to access all the services online. It has brought me to the idea of awareness. Many Ugandans, as they talk about the outages and load shedding and the experience they are in, it's only in that moment in their face. There is no awareness of what's going on. Maybe there's a maintenance plan going on or the rampancy of it. And you could find that perhaps the accessibility even to the muntu wa wansi, to all these innovations going on within the entity, perhaps it could save a thing or two. So what awareness campaigns or what awareness plan do you think Uedc'S is planning to avail to Ugandans moving forward, or has been using, and we need to perhaps know about it in regards to making it relatable as possible to every Ugandan?
This year, the same way we commissioned the awareness campaign for Uganda'S. This year is going to be mainly emphasizing from June, emphasizing on the services and new connections, because there is a certain batch of meters that are coming. We observed that most of the awareness to catch the ground should be going with the product. And that product this time is going to be meters, because we have a huge stock in transit that are coming to clear the 400. In principle, we've ordered for about 850,000 meters, and they are flowing in. In that case, we shall be in a position to have awareness attached to a connection and other services. But since we have an application, if you have any outage at your place, it also has a menu to indicate which area are having an outage based on maintenance. Now, if that area is not part of the application, it means it is a fluctuation which is unplanned for. You can text it such that we can also activate the restoration time. But critically, what we've worked on also, we have enabled our response time to improve significantly. Why? When power goes off, even at night, we endeavor that our people go on the line. If the issue is not complicated, it will be restored. That's why it can go off at around 9 p.m.
Yes.
The team will go in the field, look for the fault, climb those poles, and comes back at midnight. Not because it is by default, no. Power to be restored, there's no probability. It has to be worked on. If it is a fault, that means those are some of the effort that we put in place in order for those outages to disappear,
right,
and it is to have the service very clear.
Right.
Yes.
Now let's look at the past 1 year in line with challenges. As every program that takes shape in one's life, challenges are part of that program. And on that same note, allow me also thank UEDCL through the PR, the head of PR and communications, Jonah Nkiza, for every challenge he has tried to keep us involved as the public, being at different media spaces therein. But in order to bring one up to speed as to the challenges that have been faced in the past 1 year and the solutions therein, help us understand that picture.
The biggest challenge that we faced was, by the time we took over, it was a critical moment for the network to fall apart. Utility networks, they don't fall apart in 1 day. And they don't fall apart when we are seeing. They fall apart as you work with it. So it's a matter of creating a lag for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. By the time you realize it might have fallen apart. So the one that we took over, it has spent 3 years without good investment. So it was heading towards critical. That's why when you could move on the road, you could see so many transformers without protection. Instead, they had wires connected on it. That's a sign of system going to failure mode. You could find some areas when they do vandalism, there's no replacement.
Yeah, true.
The cables are stolen and they just take a break. Some of our colleagues in the West African countries, it is just like that. They vandalize the area, an area, they don't respond. And some of those countries, they're in big problems with those challenges. So by the time we took over, we are heading towards that. And when it triggered the connection, the network started falling apart. We thought that as soon as we engage the suppliers, both domestic and internationally, they could expedite delivery. The answer became no. You sign an agreement. We signed some agreements in April, May, June. The deliveries took 3, 5, 6 months. Some to be manufactured in Uganda here, because even the manufacturers in Uganda have to import some raw materials.
Yeah.
Those that are imported direct, these are specialized equipments. When you order, the manufacturer starts producing. Production takes some time. It can take like 60 days. That's when production is very fast. But there are those productions where you find the factory has other orders for other countries which they need to finish. So it would mean that your production can start in the next 90 to 120 days. So we found ourselves that having signed the agreements in June, May, the deliveries started coming in December, January. So in that case, we've seen a lag, what we call lead time, a long lead time of those specialized equipments coming where they're supposed to come to our deployment in the field. But the good thing, they have now started coming. That's why we have now started deploy our capital expenditure. That's why we are having less substation failures and overload. That's one. The second challenge that we've experienced is vandalism. Vandalism is real. And it's not only in upcountry. Even here at UBC Hill, we've experienced vandals.
Vandals, yeah.
Even in Kololo, we have experienced vandals. In Chikubu, busy as it is, we wake up in the morning, we find a piece of a transformer cable, 1 or 2 meters, they were cut. Even in Nankulabi. So we have experienced 360 cases of vandals.
In 1 year?
In 1 year. On average, each and every day, there is a vandal.
Yes.
And when a vandal happens, power goes off. There's no vandal who can strike and power remains on. So when the power goes off, people say, that's UEDCL. Obviously, it is UEDCL. But there was a culprit somewhere. So what have we done? We've engaged with the security agencies. If I talk about the agencies, we are working with all the agencies. And we have arrested some good number of people. I think by today, we will hit about 70 people arrested. And they've been lined up in the Vita court. We need to thank the security agencies and the court. They're doing a wonderful job. They're working on them. Even if you are caught from Karamoja, you'll be driven up to the Vita court in Machindi. There's one court for Vita courts in Uganda. We arrested some culprits in Pabo. Pabo is towards Achak on Guru Sudan Road. We brought them here in Masaka. We brought them in Machindi. And they're being worked on properly. Well.
And vandals face a penalty. It's equal to terrorism.
Yes, yes, yes. But you could be put in for some good years. Good years, based on the judgment and based on the case.
Indeed,
so it's a serious case. My message to whoever is doing that activity, whether intentionally or unknowingly, ignorantly, please don't touch the electricity distribution network. It is a hot plate. It can kill you, or if you survive, if you're arrested, you will go in.
Indeed.
The third challenge that we've experienced is energy losses, both commercial and technical. The campaign for Uedcl'S, we endeavor to go in the field, and what we learned in the field there, people can do all sorts of stuff. Some are hooking direct onto the wire. Some are bypassing ammeters. Some are bypassing through the neighbors. So, and some others are digging cables in the ground. There are some places here in Kampala and the surrounding, plus upcountry, especially in the east and some parts of the west, where when power kills somebody, they say a snake has bitten that person. Because they know when they set power, police will arrest them. What did you do with it? They put all sorts of stories, especially upcountry. So, but our encouragement is avoid stealing electricity. Those are the commercial. Then the technical losses. When we enhanced growth in loading the feeder, we saw some feeders giving way, breaking, at night becoming too hot, and whenever it gives way or it hits, it means energy is evaporating. If I can give you an example of a feeder supplying Kampala to Mityana. It is a 55-kilometer feeder, but it is loading beyond the capacity. And that's why our population in Mityana usually from 7 up to around 10, they suffer load shedding. So it was giving way, but we've done some synchronization, and I think tomorrow we are commissioning a project to reconstruct it, to make it times 2.5 of the capacity. So that project will take about 4 months to rebuild from Kampala to Mityana. Now, it means that after building it, we shall be in position to manage technical losses. Even the feeder from Kawanda, Bombo, Luwero, Wabigalo, up to Kafu. Imagine that is one feeder at 33 kV. So it means that soon or later, the conductors are hitting. And those are the other challenges. What is our future?
Indeed. Now let's look at the future.
Our future.
Yeah.
Our future, in summary, is to build more substations. Notably, we are going to build a substation in Uganda'S side of Majije. We've secured land and a contractor. We are going to build another substation in Chigo to manage that area of Busabala. They're also being overloaded. Another substation in Jinja, the starting point, and even another substation here at Nakasero Hill to manage Makerere, William Street, and part of Wandegeya. Then other areas to work on substation upgrade, about 7 substations in Ichireka, that's side of Namanve, Nantabulirwa, and others, so to be upgraded. That's one. The other one is to make sure that we enhance our communication to have our customer service charter.
Yeah.
Because we need the customer to get information from us. If a transformer fails, we've deployed a project called digitalization of a transformer. As soon as it fails, even before it fails, we shall be communicating to you that your transformer is overloaded. We are going to work on such and such a day. Please prepare to be switched off. That's the future that we are looking on. We've done a pilot study in Chentare. Now we are going to deploy them in Budo and the Masaka Road. And also to have a smart grid. I think that is a summary for the future.
Indeed.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Paul Mwesigwa. The Managing Director of UEDCL has been speaking with us this evening and looking at the 1 year since UEDCL took over from Umeme to manage Uganda's electricity distribution. Lots of successes, lots of challenges, solutions therein as well. And what I've got from this conversation is a lot of hope for Uganda. I believe you too have got a lot of hope. In just a minute, any parting shots?
Let us use electricity carefully. It is a good product. And let us support our industries, because it is our responsibility to create jobs. Time are gone for government companies to talk about privatization. Right. Instead, the government should be creating business. And that's what, as UEDCL, we are doing, and we've achieved it. Just support us, we shall be with you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you. Thank you very much. And thank you for viewing UBC TV, Inspiring Uganda. Thank you so much for choosing to be inspired as well. My name is Julie F. Nantaba, for God and my country.
Uganda. Exercise can't be sustained.
BBC, inspiring Uganda.